We are live. Welcome, everybody.
Yay. We're very talkative.
Yeah, I'm really tired today for some reason.
It's been a long week.
Indeed.
What's up with the intro?
I haven't finished the fancy intro.
You had all week for the intro.
I've been trying to get my house in
You
order.
had like 2 weeks.
I'm still not in my house.
I meant to ask about that.
With any luck, next week. Anyway, welcome everyone. Today we are playing session 1 of our GURPS Dune campaign.
And we totally didn't time it so the movie came out. Honest. We're not bandwagoning at all.
And that's the truth. Maybe.
Who knows? Feints within feints within feints within feints.
And it is just coincidence that our Dune title is using the same font and style as the movie.
Absolute coincidence.
It's not off at all. All right, so
The absolute coincidence if you go, you meet Duke Leto and you throw up Oscar Isaac with the beard. Absolute coincidence.
yeah, I did just grab some images from the internet and stuff. So if it is, similar, that's just purely coincidence, not intended at all.
I don't think anybody's buying it.
I wouldn't either. So before we begin, do we have any character stuff that we need to go over, points-wise, or anything like that? I'm assuming not, since on our pre-stream we didn't have anything.
Not on my
Not
end.
that I'm aware of, unless anybody has any other more suggestions for tweaking.
My character doesn't have quite enough points.
Seconded.
As per my usual house rules, characters can be chopped and changed for the first 3 sessions because there's always some skills or something like that that you've forgotten to add, and so you can add it later. So 3 sessions before your characters are locked in. Up until then, you can chop and change, and you can even chop and change while playing. So if it turns out there's a skill you're missing, then you can add that skill, provided you have points, or take the points from somewhere else.
Speaking of that, how long do you expect this to go? Oh, that was totally wasted. Oh, that wasn't even right anyway. Yeah, how long is your expectation of this?
I think we will be looking at maybe 6 to 8 sessions, possibly longer. Depends on whoever's running next.
And how much we drag ass?
This is true. I believe the reason we're not running the next campaign now is because of other commitments.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
So we can drag it out as much as needed. All right, so a little bit differently with these characters, as I've mentioned before, equipment. I'm not going to worry about money, equipment, and that sort of bookkeeping. Since you guys are major people within the household, you have access to pretty much anything that would be reasonably acceptable. So when beginning a particular scene in the adventure, if there's equipment that you need to modify, then you can modify it, add it. Don't need to worry about the cost, and that includes vehicles and all that sort of stuff. Your house is significantly powerful and wealthy, but you will have most of these things, with the exception of nukes or atomics.
So about a guild liner.
Well, you can't have a guild liner, but you can have, what are they called? Lighters? The ships that fly into the guild liners. It is only the Space and Guild that have guild highliners. Or do you mean... No, doesn't matter.
I was just being facetious.
So that's how we'll handle money and stuffs. The only thing that's going to be important is your encumbrance, but I'm going to assume in most cases you will be no encumbrance because stuff is light and you have shields and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that reminds me.
Just-
What's the standard shield? I didn't actually look at that.
Neither did I, actually.
It will be in the basic set. It's the personal shield or whatever it is. Sorry, not basic set. Ultra Tech.
Personal force screen.
I think that's it.
Okay, full body, blah blah blah. DR. Okay, yeah, that looks right.
With your shield activated, you are virtually immune to most attacks, with the exception of slow blades and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, looks like the item out of yeah.
I don't know if you were saying something, but I only heard item out of and stopped there.
The item from the Ultratech module for personal force screen is not fully built out. It's not got all the guts to make it plug in. It also doesn't have a weight.
What are you talking about? It worked on for me.
Did it?
It just dragged it
Where-
into the equipment.
Yeah, it dragged it into. Oh wait, right. You have to actually equip it. That's how that worked. That's what I'm missing.
But yeah, I did note that there's no weight on any pull out of that module.
Personal force screen should have more DR.
Easy enough to find. Should it?
I believe it does.
More than 60?
I seem to recall it has something like 100 DR.
No, I'm looking at a book. I've got on Ultratech 191, DR 60, weight 2.5.
Fair enough. To coincide with the Dune universe, however, I think that DR will become moot because my understanding is Dune shields are impenetrable. Or at least super tough. But we'll deal with that when it arises. You can assume that if you have your shield active, then the only way you're getting hurt is from melee attacks or the dart pistols, which I'm going to assume are gyrox.
What did they call them in the 3E thing? No, they specifically called that out.
I'm not sure.
You mean the Mauler
Mauler
pistols?
Well, no, Mauler pistols fire a dart, but you have the darts that are like propelled, and they will push their way through the shield. It's not the Mauler pistol that does that. Mauler pistols are like an assassin's weapon. Fires a little dart, poison dart.
That's not necessarily true, because I know there's a specific reference to Paul getting his own Mauler pistol after he kicked the crap out of Jameis before the fight.
Oh, is that what they're called? I thought they were molar pistols. I thought they fired like sandworm teeth or something.
I could be mistaken. That may well be the case. But my understanding was Mauler pistols just fired a poison dart. They're not actually designed to penetrate shields.
Yeah, I think they're just needlers.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about in the 3rd edition thing. They were just saying it's spring-loaded needlers for the tech level.
Either way, nothing penetrates a shield, and if you use lasers on the shield, either you have two possible cases: the shield explodes, or the laser explodes in a very violent way, almost atomic. All right, so I don't think there's anything else that I need to go over in regards to special rules or anything like that. I don't see anything I needed to mention. We're not going to worry about any sort of bookkeeping on money or wealth, except in situations where you maybe have to bribe or whatever, and then it would be assumed that you have a reasonable amount of Solaris on person. Actually, no. The unit of currency in the Dune universe is Solaris. So one GURPS will equal one Solari.
How convenient.
All right. Let's go with character introductions. We will start with the. Actually, no. We'll do the house first. Okay, so all you guys are members of House Danann. Seem to have spelled it differently too. Never mind. I got it right. House Danann. House Danann is a minor house. It is a vassal to House Atreides. Your homeworld is Caladan. The house has no other holdings. The banner and colours for House Danann are as shown. The house is its primary interest is farming expertise. So land managers, agricultural experts, things like that. You do have a secondary domain, and that is espionage or information. The house will acquire and sell information to other houses, which would be used for whatever means. And I think we had decided that it's going to be, the house will actually be known for that, and not it being a secret trait. Is that correct?
No, I thought we wanted the farming be what we were truly known for, but the secret is that behind the scenes we're really good at the espionage information gathering.
I don't know that we were necessarily determined in that regard.
No, I think Paul's right though.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Your primary domain is farming expertise, and
It might matter.
that is something that you are known throughout the galaxy for. Your secondary domain, it's not so important to be known for that if you wish to keep it secret.
So the three of you actually put some points in like farming crap, right?
No, I did.
I did.
Well, this is just embarrassing.
Oh, I didn't do it.
Error. He's not really expected to be a farmer.
No, he's expected to know some stuff.
Are you sure?
The house has a single enemy, or single major enemy. That is another minor house, House Romanesque. And this is a hatred, or both houses hate each other, but the reason why they hate each other has long been forgotten, and is a long way in the past, an ancient feud, centuries old. The ruler of House Danann is a tough, badass woman. Her name is Lady Gwendolyn Danann. She has outlived 3 husbands and is grandmother to the house heir. This is, share the image. Lady Gwendolyn. All right. So let's begin with character introductions. Ethan, can you please go ahead?
I can. So, hello everyone. People you have not heard of me. I am Antricus Ethan. Take your pick. I'm known for speaking 5 sentences over the course of entire seasons. So I'm, of course, going to be playing Tansen Danann, the heir to the house, who is largely a face man and skilled with primarily talking and being social and being an integrated member of high society and all that. So I will be trying to take on that role for once. It'll be a thing. So uh, that about sums it up.
And we will move to your trusted bodyguard, Atticus.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rigel or Bill. I am playing Atticus Neth, who is one of Lord Tenzin's protective detail. He is a trained swordmaster Ganaz, with his preferred weapon being long knife. Instructed by a notoriously crotchety old master who insisted that relying on shields and all that is for poofs and failures, so he definitely is not reliant on them. He's fanatic to the house, is one of those my blood before his, my life before his kind. And as an aside, he's got a serious thing for Thompson's sister. I think it's his sister. It's either his sister or his aunt. We never fully classified that. But he knows his place in the hierarchy of the class system, so he's gonna not say anything about it. That's me.
Well, Tansen does have a sister, so it's up
Then
to you.
it's a sister. Groovy, groovy, groovy.
Next, we will get Tycho.
All right, Tycho Kane was born and raised in Danann. He has his duty and oathbound to House Danann. He basically mimics what the house is. He has been trained in farming techniques and as a land manager and steward for House Danann. So he has just that alone. He has been sent to other houses to share the expertise of House Danann. But he was born with photographic memory, and with that, they trained him also to be a spy. So because they can basically because of his photographic memory, he can perfectly recall documents and conversations. So that's what he is also an undercover spy. And so he's been trained in that way. And then he's also been trained to resist interrogations and other things to make sure he doesn't break. And so that's where he's kind of got the indomitable, is he went through special conditioning, sort of like the Imperial Trust. This was a different kind of conditioning to keep him from breaking under interrogation or any kind of social things. Otherwise, he is pretty much on the outside. He's a simple farmer, but trained otherwise.
Cool. And finally, Valtteri.
Yeah. I, Geekerman, am playing Valtteri Hanzo, who is, as a youngster, he was trained as a mentat, but when it came time for him to make the decision, it was mutually decided to not pursue it. He instead ended up in the Survey Corps for House Danann, and incidentally in the process becoming a part of the intelligence community. And he is currently working as an anti-assassination attachment to the House Heir.
Very good. Okay. I guess I should do it.
What? You fell in a hole.
So I guess we should do a calendar. Can you hear me?
Yes. Do we have a calendar? Does the calendar go up that high?
Good question.
You're totally looking at your screen.
It does.
Do they still
Let's
use a
see,
Gregorian calendar?
Maybe.
I don't think I've ever heard of a date reference other than the year.
It's listed as BG and AG. I'm not sure what those are.
Oh, man. I had just seen all that. Yeah, I don't remember what that
So
is.
the date that the Dune book actually begins, where it's like Paul is tested with the Gom Jabbar and Atreides moves to front Arrakis, is 10/191 AG.
Does it indicate a month at all?
No, it's just because it's just. I think the all the stuff in the first part of the book. Is it the first part of the first two parts? Can't remember. I think the time skip is between book one or book 2 and 3, right?
Yes, that is what I recall.
Yeah. So the first 1/3 or 2/3 of the original Dune book is over the year of 10/191.
All right. Well, actual dates are not important. The year will be important. This takes place before the Atreides move to Arrakis. So this would be the lead up to that.
We're on Tuesday the 0th.
It's because I didn't choose an actual date.
Hey, it's a great Tuesday from all things considered.
I hate these 0th days.
That's just because you have to. That's when you have to do that special ritual ceremony you do.
I'm curious as to why it chose Tuesday as opposed to any other day.
You feel so
because
empty.
because Tuesday is Monday part 2.
This is fair.
Yeah, starting on Monday, the 0th would be piling on.
All right, so as your characters go about their usual business, what would you be doing within the household?
That's a really good question.
I imagine for Tansen it would mostly be daily business, meetings, maybe with I forget the rank lower than minor house or house minor, like house negligible, meeting with representatives from houses negligible, and
It's negligible.
and essentially just keeping the operations going.
That is an interesting question. Just exactly how involved in the business is he?
Given that Grandma doesn't have a great deal of faith in his abilities yet, most of the day-to-day running of the the household interests would be taken care of by Gwendolyn, with less important stuff delegated to Tansen.
So I'm meeting with houses negligible and not houses minor.
Or you could just be loafing about doing nothing in particular. And Atticus, what would he be doing?
Trailing the Lord Tansen, standing in the background, being a bodyguard because, he looks like he's a bodyguard and he looks like a bodyguard.
All right, and Valtteri?
I'm gonna guess that Valtteri is probably reviewing his typical job is reviewing the itineraries and researching the parties involved and looking for potential assassination points and trying to negate them.
Okay, then you have a professional skill of any sort in that regard?
I believe I did. Yeah, I did take tradecraft at least. But that depends. I mean, this could be intelligence analysis or research or whatever. It just depends on
So
the
you can
nature
do
of the moment.
tradecraft at this point.
Well, given that he's the kind of guy that takes his time on everything.
You have that ample time, so you can add whatever bonuses.
That was a shitty roll.
Did you still succeed by 4? Okay, so your character, or Valtteri, will know that today a guild highliner is due to arrive, bringing dignitaries from Kaitang. And their business here is it's a formal arrangement, basically formalizing the handover of Arrakis to House Atreides. An invitation from the Atreides has gone out to Lady Gwendolyn to attend this ceremony as a witness to the event. And with a roll like that, you have ascertained that there is going to be very little risk to Lady Gwendolyn, as it's all going to be within the grounds of House Atreides and their own agents who will have made sure that the place is secure for everyone involved. So you have no particular concerns. What is Tycho doing at this point?
Tycho would, if he's not out and about for House Danann, sharing his farming expertise, he would be probably either with Valtteri at this time or Gwendolyn or whatever, sharing the information that he has gathered from the house that he just got back from. And the other aspect is that to keep his cover, he'd probably be continuing to learn about farming and growing his knowledge in that as well. So it depends on where you think he is at this point. Is he giving information back to the house? He just got back from a trip, sharing that information with Valtteri, or is he out and about right now at a different house doing information gathering in a way? It's kind of up to you.
We'll do that in just a moment. All right, so Valtteri. Your office or study or place of work, there is a knock on the door, and Ori Madrell, the house mentat, steps into the room to address you. He asks, "How is your work going?"
Says a mentat is never late nor early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Indeed, he does.
Yeah. Feeling a little distracted today. Tycho keeps coming in and bugging me. But I haven't found any points of danger.
Good. I can't imagine there would be. I need you to find Lord Tansen and inform him the guild highliner has arrived from Kaiteng. Lady Gwendolyn wishes to see him in the Great Hall.
Very well.
I expect you to attend as well. If you can find Tycho, please gather him and bring him along with you.
And so I shall.
So you will wander the house and eventually find Tansen and Atticus in the study, going over some books or some accounts or numbers or things like that, and instruct them that his mother wishes to see you in the Great Hall.
It's time.
Grandmother.
So, Grandma.
Well, off we go, I guess.
As you say, my lord.
And conveniently, you will encounter Tycho in the halls.
He's totally looking for Valtteri. Hey, I got a question for you.
Actually, does Castle Danann have a name?
Other than Castle Danann.
Other than Castle Danann?
No, I think just Castle Danann. It's, but it's not a sprawling, we're not a great house, so I'll hold off on naming it.
We're not a great house, so we don't have a great castle name.
There you go, yeah.
You will wander into the Great Hall.
We will do no such thing. We will enter the Great Hall very purposely.
Well, when you approach the doors to the Great Hall, house guards will open them, stand aside and allow you to enter. They will give Lord Tansen a respectful nod and bow their heads as he passes. in the Great Hall is the Lady Gwendolyn. The Mentat Ori is also there. And also gathered is the House Spymaster, who are the Starkmen.
I don't trust that guy.
So that's probably who Tycho would probably be reporting to then.
In carrying out your duties, you would probably report to all the household staff. But the Spymaster is definitely someone that you would have regular contact with. As you enter, both Ori and Duar, they will nod respectfully as Tansen approaches. Lady Gwendolyn is less formal and is just sitting at the end of the hall. It's almost, you could almost imagine she's looking at her clock, thinking, you're late. That's the look she has on her face. She will say, "You're here."
Indeed, grandmother.
Well, as you know, our esteemed Emperor has sent a delegation of representatives for a display of pomp and ceremony, formalizing the change and handover of Arrakis to the Duke. Leto has suggested that we attend. I will not, as I have no desire to stand in the rain. But perhaps...
I'm sorry, I can totally hear. I don't want to stand in the rain. You do it.
Indeed. I have no desire to stand in the rain, but perhaps this is your opportunity to impress our Duke. I want you to be there and let it be seen that House Danann supports the Atreides.
Of course, I shall take it as my solemn duty.
Very well. If there's nothing else, please begin your preparations. We do not have much time. She will dismiss Tansen and Atticus as you two begin to leave. Valtteri and Tycho. She says, "Valtteri, Tycho, I need you to stay. I wish to speak longer with you."
As my lady wishes.
Valtteri shrinks a couple of inches.
Ooh, neat trick.
Does Tansen react to this at all? That he is being excluded from some sort of discussions, or does he dismiss himself?
He would leave, but he'll give a look to Valtteri about, tell me about it later.
Lady Gwendolyn, she will actually, no, it won't be Lady Gwendolyn, it'll be Ori. He will notice this exchange, and he'll give Valtteri a "I'm watching you" look.
Valtteri's just got wide eyes.
The house guards will then open the doors to the Great Hall to Tansen and Atticus, and then they will themselves leave, leaving just Tycho, Atticus, Lady Gwendolyn, Duar, and Ori in the chamber. Duar will step forward and address Tycho and Valtteri. He will say, we have special business for you. Lady Manuia of House Tanilu is traveling with the Emperor's delegation and seeks to deliver a discreet message to us. The nature of this message is unknown. She is betrothed to Lord Benedict Hasselvander. He is second heir to a minor house vassal of the Harkonnen. As such, the Atreides will be watching her very carefully. It's important they do not learn of this exchange, if it can be avoided. Likewise, in order to protect Lord Tansen, with a degree of deniability, you must also not learn of this exchange. Anything you learn from Lady Manuia must be brought to me immediately. Is this understood?
Understood.
Forgot who was speaking.
This is the Spy Master who's speaking.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
I'm thinking. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
How discreet do you want this to be? If we find out that someone is about to learn to this, are we allowed to take them out, or should we refrain?
Use your judgment. We wish to keep this as discreet as possible. The message was directed at our house, and let's try and keep it that way.
Understood, sir.
And you will recall he said that it's important for the exchange, for the Atreides not to learn about the exchange, but he did clarify if it can be avoided.
I'm gonna presume that I would know, at least to some degree already, whether or not we would have any sort of information as to their itinerary for the day, where these people are going to be.
Valtteri will definitely know. There is the main ceremony, at which, originally it was Gwendolyn that was to attend, but she is no longer attending. In her place, Tansen will be attending, and your house will just be off to one side, out of the way, observing this ceremony, to be witnesses and to be seen. Then you do know that later that evening there is a not so much a feast or anything like that, but it's like a
thing
where various dignitaries and stuff like that mingle, and
Reception?
I guess you could
I guess-
call it that.
There would be one more question: is in what matter are they trying to? What is the medium of this information exchange? Is it going to be speaking or documentation?
Ori will reply and he'll say, "We do not know. So be alert."
To the itinerary question, I was actually referring to the other parties. But so we have the ceremony itself and the reception. Is there anything else going on? Is there any reason for these people to be wandering about, or are they pretty much all going to come in, do their thing, and leave?
For the most part, they'll come in, do their thing, and leave again. There are members from the Spacing Guild that are attending. There are corporate officials. They would be from Chone. You know that there is a Bene Gesserit, someone from the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood is attending, and then various other, noble houses or dignitaries from noble houses, which will schmooze with the Atreides, obviously in order to gain favour and maybe influence them in some way. But that's most likely going to happen at the reception afterwards. The ceremony is just that. It's just a formality to signify everything is good with the Emperor.
Did the other party? Could you put the name up there so I could see it? I keep forgetting. Did they leave any indications as to how we were going to identify ourselves so we can receive said message? Are we just going to have to wing it?
You will have to win it. You will know what Lady Manoia looks like. This is her.
Mm.
And I guess if you have a heraldry or some sort of area knowledge type skill, you might know a little bit about her on a successful roll.
Would that be politics?
Politics would work, yep. Yeah, unfortunately, the night distortion is not something I can do anything about. It's caused by a sprinkler going off outside.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Is it really bad?
It's pretty rough, but we'll get through it.
It's annoying.
Next week, maybe.
I'm told next week. So fingers crossed.
Okay, well, all right, we're going to tell us about the. Carry on.
All right, so wow, succeed by 8 and 4.
So Tanielu is the house.
That is the house. She's betrothed to Benedict Hasselvander. He is the second heir to the Hasselvander house. He's not something super significant, and they are only a minor vassal house to the Harkonnen. Your understanding is that this marriage is an arranged marriage for political reasons. And of course, you would know that because she's betrothed but not yet married. The wedding has not taken place as yet. Her house does have some minor holdings on Arrakis. Well, not so much holdings, but spice mining rights. And perhaps the wedding is a means to increase their influence on Arrakis.
Where is House Tanalu currently? Is it on Caladan or is it on a different planet?
Different planet.
What do we know about House Tanalu? What are they known for?
Sexy women.
Their house, they produce fruits.
So they could use farming expertise. Okay.
They could indeed use farming expertise. To be more specific, tropical fruits and stuff.
All right. Well, I'm kind of leaning toward Tycho needs to disguise himself as the help so he can deliver drinks or something.
Or I could be Valtteri could introduce me to House Tanalu as a farming expert, since they do produce fruits, and I can just use that as a means of sharing my knowledge and gaining knowledge.
But point of order there, both of you guys are super smart, and you are aware that she said that, or one of them said that the Atreides are going to be keeping an eye on her, so you don't want to openly approach her.
Yeah, we don't want to be identifiable as ourselves in this case, so disguise is going to have to be a thing. I can't think of any other way to do it.
You do have points in disguise, right there,
Yes,
Tycho?
I have disguise, 14, mimicry, stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I can dress up as a servant. That way I can get close.
And I suppose I can analyze the situation and find a good entry point. Other than that, I think that's probably plan A.
I guess I'll get Bell to make a another tradecraft roll, or you could substitute intelligence analysis.
I will do that. Is this on the spot thing?
This is an on the spot thing, yes.
So your eyes have to roll back as you calculate.
In that case,
Wow.
okay.
Good times.
All right, since you have poured over names and manifests and stuff like that, you know that she has a Sarduakar bodyguard. Ordinarily, her personal protection is provided by the Harkonnen, so like Harkonnen guards and such. However, given the nature of the visit to Caladan, Harkonnen bodyguards would probably be murdered on site. So they have the employ of she has the employ of Sarduakar bodyguard that you expect will be nearby, anytime she needs that protection.
Is that bodyguard hired recently, or is he in their service?
With a role like that, that bodyguard has been hired recently. Hired purely for this visitation.
Right. Got it.
You
So
will
we
know
made
that
it Tycho.
you will know that during the actual reception, guards and such they're not normally present, but they're not far away.
Mm-hmm. Have we been here before? Are we familiar with this place?
The Atreides convention center or reception hall,
Whatever it is.
yes,
Yeah.
you would have. There's been many a party or gathering,
Okay.
social event.
So very familiar. Fair enough.
So Taika will start getting everything he needs to disguise himself as a servant.
All right, so we're still in the Great Hall. You have no particular questions or anything like that at this point?
No, I think we got what we're gonna get.
All right, so Lady Gwendolyn, you will be dismissed. Lady Gwendolyn will give you a passing comment. She says, "Make sure my grandson does not make us look bad."
Of course, your ladyship.
Man,
Ow.
your grandma doesn't think much of you, does she?
Evidently not.
Your will, my lady.
And then she just sort of, waves you out of there. She has, better things to do as she reaches over and grabs a drink, which is no doubt alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So you will depart. You have some preparations that you can make. You are to join Tansen for the actual ceremony. Your place will be in the very back, out of the way, but you'll have eyes on what's going on.
How long did we have? I know you said it wasn't long.
So you, at present, your group are preparing to go to the ceremony. So you don't have like a huge amount of time, but you do have time.
Like how long? Like 30 minutes, hour?
30 minutes an hour, sort of thing.
Well, I'll go and get a servant's uniform. I'm pretty sure I probably have a stash of stuff that is in the order, has House Atreides on it, and get that gear and everything else.
If you can just go get one of those things, then their security is worse than I thought.
Sorry, run that by me again.
I will get a servant's uniform.
For the Atreides.
Yes.
All right, so that will mainly be for the reception afterwards. At this point, you are just attending the ceremony. So the ceremony will take place. You'll have time to come back, do some preparations, and then attend the ceremony, the reception afterwards.
Got it.
So at the moment, you're just dealing with the change ceremony. So is there anything in particular that you guys are doing? And that's to all of you. Any particular? So at some point, I assume Valtieri and Tycho will meet up with Tansen and Atticus.
Yes. And I don't think there's anything about what we're going to be doing that we are at liberty to discuss.
Yeah, we're not going to be saying anything. So
Does Tansen ask?
Excuse me. Had a. Uh, uh, sure.
So after you guys meet, does Tansen ask what the extra meeting was about?
Yes, yes.
Side
okay,
mission.
we'll play it.
Side mission. Hush, hush. Can't talk about it. My lord.
Come now. Surely. As heir to the house, it's my duty to be prepared for all eventualities, which may include the unfortunate and untimely passing of my grandmother, and so I should be aware of any and all such side duties that may or may not have relevant bearing on the future of the house.
It involves no one's passing.
Are you sure about that?
If it goes well.
Very well.
How large is that delegation going to be?
Less than 50, more than 20. That's of dignitaries. Of course, they'll have their entourage, which will.
No, I mean our delegation at the. I'm presuming the not the reception, but the initial thing is when the big round thing lands and they walk up and present the doohickey.
Correct. So at that, Hanson will have a spot in that ceremony area. The rest of you, as you're not, important people in the eyes of, or in the context of this, you guys will be away from him, but you can still witness, these going on.
Right. So let's see. I'm wondering when we arrive, we're probably going to want to initially send Volteri to coordinate with their head of security to ensure, to just basic. And I figure this would be like a standard practice sort of thing where it's like, hey, we've arrived. We'd like to know what the replacement is and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that immediately.
So Valtieri will be the first to disembark and go about business before the rest of the.
Yeah, unless I can do that remotely. I mean, I'm perfectly fine to call ahead, but I don't know how that works in this scenario.
There's a fair assumption that security is taken care of by the Atreides. It would be very bad for them if there was an incident where important people were injured or killed or anything like that. So
yeah, but I figure that's even still. This is basically you're still going to want to integrate with their security.
Correct. So you will introduce yourself, and you'll be kept abreast of what's.
With them, If we've interacted with them enough times, they may actually already know us.
They would, yes.
Yeah, so I'm just going through the normal motions of finding out where he's supposed to be standing when and who's allowed to be where and
Okay.
what to do and what not to do.
So is there any particular preparations that you intend to do before that particular event? Any equipment that you'd like to take with you?
How are
Uh,
we allowed to be armed at all, or I take it they're taking away all our stuff?
Generally, the Tansy is allowed to be armed as just a formality. As
ceremonial.
as is Atticus. Everyone else is expected to be unarmed.
Of course, on the plus side, that means everyone else is expected to be unarmed.
So, question: how noticeable would because my monowire Garrett is basically a ring on my finger.
Well, that would be a holdout. I imagine there would be lots of bonuses to your holdouts to smuggle it.
And if you get
Okay.
caught,
Yeah, it was amusing. Is before he said Atticus can also be armed. I was totally thinking that I was going to have my secure my primary weapon on Tansen, and he's just like, "Damn it, I hate it when I have to do this. I have to carry it." And like, yes, my lord, it's there for a reason.
why does it tilt backwards?
So while you're allowed to be armed, it has to be within reason. You can't have like a RPG strapped over your shoulder sort of thing.
Oh no,
there
I
goes
figured.
Plan A.
Yeah, no, that's no. I figure his primary or preferred weapon is the long knife, but he carries that at the small of his back sheath. And I figure, simply based on the fact that Tansen did the small sword as well, I figure the small sword is like the ceremonial weapon, so he's probably got that as well. But if it's really bad, he's not going to even bother with the small sword.
Yeah, Tenson will be probably having his nanoweave suit minus any head coverings. Underneath a fancy formal attire, and then the small sword and main
Exactly.
gauche.
Okay, so no other special preparations?
I can't think of any gear that I would need in this case, excepting some related electronics for data pad or whatever the hell is going to be appropriate.
You could probably have a small data pad. You could have things like, was it the contacts, magnifying contacts and all that sort of stuff, so you can keep an eye on the situation.
Oh, well,
But I'm good with you declaring that at the time, after
Well,
the fact.
given that, I might just have sort of the equivalent of some opera glasses. Basically just binoculars. But classy.
Okay. All right. So, you guys will board a house doctor. SSH.
It's just like an Atreides banner, but it's just I like the style.
It is really cool.
Yeah,
So-
Phil.
So you'll board the house doctor, and you'll be taken to the Atreides, I guess, spaceport. There is a whole bunch of Atreides soldiers, like several battalions, all lined up, looking very fancy. There's a stage set up where you can see that Leto and his household are standing. Off to the side is where Tansen is supposed to be. So, Valtieri, you did integrate with the security and got an update and were told where to be, and you were also informed of the procedure should something unexpected occur.
Right. Yeah.
You do see that the Atreides security people seem quite nervous. It's almost as if this is an important thing. So as you join the field, you will see Atreides officers ensuring that everyone's uniforms are spot on, everyone's perfectly in line. People are sorted by height, and it looks all very, very ceremonial.
Change of command ceremony. We know how it works. Stand there for 2 hours of parade rest.
Given the size of a guild highliner, you can actually see it. Its silhouette up above you. There is a fanfare that indicates. Yes, just like that.
Like Josh Brolin, but he's miscast as Gurney.
I kind of like him in the role. He does a good job.
But he's miscast. Gurney's is legitimately described as an ugly man. And a lump of a man.
Well, I suppose in that case they've yet to get him right.
True. I think the TV movie is probably the closest.
I recall that's the sci-fi one, right?
Yeah.
There's the Scottish dude.
Yes, he was very Scottish.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
So there's a fanfare indicating that the delegation is set to arrive, and you see emerging from the clouds this large spherical ship descends through the clouds and lands. You guys are part of that.
Yeah, that kind of gives you a size of or a sense of how big that ship is. Those are like formations of people.
That's one thing that they do really good in the film. The sense of scale is like massive. Everything is like huge. It's really good cinematography. And then you will see it opens up. Down here, a ramp is lowered and the delegation begin to disembark. So amongst that that delegation is you can see the Bene Gesserit. sister. You can see a number of guild navigators. These guys. And a number of corporate officials from Chome. In total, there's probably about 20 or so people that disembark from the ramp. The ceremony goes ahead. And the handover is formalized. The Duke uses his signet ring to seal the deal, basically. So after this, then the other guests or other dignitaries disembark, and there is a bit of a how you doing meet and greet. Everyone's lined up, and it is at this point that your contact disembarks. You will see, I'll get a perception roll from everyone that knows about the side mission.
So that's 2 people.
That's 2 people.
In the box or out in the open?
You can make it out in the open. You can use observation for this as well. Add any bonuses that you might have from optical enhancements or anything like that. Right, so rolls like that, you clearly notice as she works her way, she'll first greet the Duke and his household, nod, bow, and all that sort of stuff, and then she will, you'll notice that she's actively looking through the rest of the other vassals that have assembled along with Tansen and such, and you can see that she's scanning that group, and she will sort of lock eyes on Tansen, and as she goes about her deal, savoir faring, I guess you could call it. She will make her way to Tansen, and Tansen, before you is a smoking hot lady. You do not know, you have not met her before. I guess if you have politics, on a really good roll of politics, you might.
I actually do not have politics.
So we will assume that you have not met her before. Obviously, she's of someone or some importance. She will introduce herself. She will.
However, he does have a great savoir-faire high society.
You can make a roll on savoir-faire high society.
Try not to embarrass yourself.
He didn't.
Just wait for this church to finish ringing.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? You do have noise issues over there, I've noticed.
Yeah, it's no ideal. Usually, previous sessions I haven't been jamming, so I could avoid
That's
talking when these noises happen. All right, so she will stand before Tansen, and she will curtsy, and she'll present her hand, as is the formality, and she will say by name, she'll say Lord Tansen Danann, pleasure to meet you. And she will like curtsy, extend a hand. The social etiquette is to take her hand and give it a kiss or whatever. If you succeed your role very well, so you do. However, when she stands and pulls away her hand, you feel that she has dropped something or placed something very small and cylindrical in your palm.
I would like. How would I go about sneaking that into my pocket?
If you have sleight of hand, you could use that. Sleight of hand is the roll.
Can
Trapped,
I
do not.
try to?
It's Dex -5. Now I'll get perception rolls from everyone else to see if you notice this exchange. I'll give a bonus of +2 to those that know the secret mission because you're particularly alert to this.
So I'll succeed by 9.
Wow.
First roll of the night.
Yeah.
All right, so Atticus, you will not see, but Tycho and Valtteri, you will notice that it seems like something has been handed off. Very subtle. You don't see what it was, but you can just see the mannerisms or the movements of the hand suggest she just palmed something to Tansen. She will then again curtsy and move on to the next person in the line, and she'll then continue about her business. So Tansen, if you wish to sleight of hand, you may do so. I think it's Dex -5 is the default.
Already done, already failed.
Can I try to filch it from him?
You're not near Tansen. You're in the back. Tansen's with the important people.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to try to pickpocket it from him later.
Yeah, that would be more appropriate. You're not going to snatch it out of his hand without him noticing.
All right, so you will attempt to slide it in your pocket and hope that no one has noticed. And then you just continue to stand there and do your thing, and you meet other dignitaries as they sort of work the line. So with that, the ceremony comes to a close. The dignitaries that are not staying around, the dignitaries that are not sticking around, they board the ship. Those others will then be, escorted to vehicles and such that will take them to the Atreides palace, where they will eventually gather for this reception. Okay, so people begin to disperse. What is it that you guys intend to do after you meet, or if you meet? what's Tansen doing first? There is a procedure for security reasons. There is a procedure for you to sort of vacate this area, which you will follow, and you have the opportunity to meet up with your entourage. But you can do that in your own time.
So what would the normal process for after this be? Besides Vegas, there be like a feast or ball or other ceremony, other social event after the change ceremony, or is everyone basically just heading?
There's some time before that ceremony, that reception takes place. So, these dignitaries are going to get settled, and they'll be given quarters rooms and all that sort of stuff where they can, get ready for the evening's event. So there is some time.
Okay, I would like to head back to my quarters in order to examine that object.
All right. So you'll meet up with your entourage before examining the object. Oh, sorry. And Valtteri and Tycho, you did notice, due to a poor attempt at sleight of hand, that Tansen has slipped something into his pocket. You don't know what it was.
So if Tansen decides he's going to try to go back to his room without meeting up with us first, Tycho will try to intercept him and pretend to bump into him or stumble into him and pickpocket it if he can.
That always works.
No. So I was thinking about that. And Tansen, knowing that Valtteri and Tycho met with the Lady Gwendolyn and weren't the most forthcoming. Well, no, he has no reason to suspect it's tied to this.
Well, he's got what, a 14 or 15 intelligence?
15 IQ, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say he's smart enough. Freaking go.
That together. Okay, if that is believed to be reasonable, then knowing that Valtteri and Tycho met with Lady Gwendolyn before, then he would just try to make his way back with Atticus, and along the way, sort of divulge that the Lady Tanyelu left him something, and that he wishes to examine it.
Her digits.
We should probably have that scanned first, just in case she is with a subhouse of Harkonnen.
No, she's betrothed to a subhouse of Harkonnen.
She's betrothed to Harkonnen, so who knows?
For what you understand is political reasons.
Now, does Tansen know, or does Tycho and Valtteri know that?
I don't believe I'm aware of anything apart from she's attractive and handed me something.
Yes, we should check that out. It could be an assassination attempt.
Yeah, but he's impulsive and curious.
So you do meet up. So is Tycho going to attempt to pickpocket?
That's a terrible idea.
But he is duty bound to well, I'm
sitting there, I'm thinking that's a terrible idea simply because of the class structure.
He'll wait for a good opportunity to do it. He might, just as he's walking along, stumble along and pickpocket as they're walking along, but he won't do it out in the open.
I mean, it's also, if Valtteri has a legitimate argument, hey, yeah, we should get this scanned, then that might actually convince Tansen to turn it over. I don't know.
Well, okay, in that case, in the order of events that happened, is Tansen divulged the fact that he's got this small tube before Tycho attempts to pickpocket, or?
Well, actually, what Tycho would probably do would be like, Valtteri, we know that Tansen was handed something. you, as being kind of our security expert, you need to get that away from him because it might be something dangerous. We need to protect Hansen.
Well, what Tansen does with it first is what's important here. So, to the question the GM was asking.
He would not reveal it beforehand. He's hoping to if he can find out what it is and act upon it for the better of the house on his own initiative without impact without input from the Lady Gwendolyn, then perhaps that will endear him a bit to her. Be a bit more on the clever and devious side.
All right, so then you guys will board your Thopter and head back to Castle Danann
Okay, well,
without revealing the cylinder. You'll at least board the Thopter without revealing.
the first time we are in each other's presence, if Tycho doesn't say anything, Valtteri definitely will. That whatever it is that she gave you, we really need to scan that. That could be an assassination attempt.
It's
Well,
a
it appears I have
legitimate
much to learn in
argument.
that regard. Fine, very well.
I'm totally thinking, wait, somebody handed him something? I shouldn't say that out loud.
I think you may have been too busy looking at her necklace.
No, actually, now that it occurs to me, it makes perfect sense for me to have failed that because, he was quite aware that there was a Bene Gesserit there, and he was trying to keep from freaking out because they terrify him for some reason.
So Tansen gives Valtteri the part.
No, he's going to hold on to it, but he will go with Valtteri to get it examined. He doesn't want to hand it over. You two run off and do
Right.
whatever Lady Gwendolyn's plan is. He wants to make sure he's there.
Well, I haven't referred to Tycho at all in this process, so.
Well, in that case, if he's not handing it over, when we're on the Ornithopter, if an opportunity presents itself, he may try to pickpocket it.
That's another matter.
Well, the opportunity will certainly present itself. There will be
On the
time,
way
so
out, probably.
so if you wish to pickpocket, you can roll the attempt. I will
Gonna have to
get
have him executed, by the way.
How
these
clumsy of
rolls done in secret, please. So both in the box. Tansen, you have to make a perception roll. Tycho, pickpocket. Okay. Tansen, you will feel a brush along your pocket. You'll turn, not thinking much of it, but you will see Tycho pull from your pocket this small tube. It's roughly 1.5 inches in length and maybe 8 inches, maybe 5 millimeters in diameter.
Tycho.
And here's where the Keystone Cops begins.
Yes, my lord.
Give it back before consequences become involved.
Give what back?
Is this the game you wish to play?
And consequences are involved.
All right, my lord. Here, have it back.
Do not do this again.
But we should get that scanned. This should not be on your person, my lord. This is unsafe for you.
Well, it has not killed me yet, and I agreed to have it scanned. That is sufficient for me.
He's not wrong.
You're very agreeable today.
All right, so there'll be no other shenanigans on your flop to ride back to the castle, I'm assuming. So then you will arrive at the castle, and I guess you will proceed to the Valtieri's study, where you have all sorts of equipment and gadgets that you can use to scan this. So if you have an electronics ops sensors, you may make the roll. And that's for whoever is going to be doing this.
What the hell, man? I've been rolling like shit all day.
There does not appear to be anything dangerous. It is just a cylindrical metal tube, and as far as you can tell, it seems to be in two halves, maybe like threaded together. It is hollow. There is definitely a space inside.
Well, if the scans turn nothing.
I am going to wait for Townsend to not be looking so I can attempt to access the contents.
Yes, you could do a stealth roll. Or a sleight of hand if you have. If that's better.
Yeah, I'm not that cool.
You should have wrecked a shield around.
I'm trying to think of a way to get him distracted.
As I will use fast talk against him.
Man, you guys are digging a deep, deep hole, aren't you?
Well, it's not our fault.
We're duty bound. So I'll be like, Tansen, my lord, I just want to truly apologize for trying to take that item from you. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, it was just... I'm so sorry, my lord. Can you ever forgive me? Wow.
God.
You don't say, man,
What the
everybody's
hell,
rolling
man?
really. Okay, I want to try something. I want to see something here. It's like, because really, okay, so it isn't just that.
Can I get
It's weird.
a will roll from Tencent, please? Tencent?
Connection lost. Connected.
All right.
Welcome back.
Internet dropped out, so you guys have to join again.
Depends on whether it's available. Okay, it's available now.
That's another thing I'll be happy for when I get back home, back into my house. Reliable internet.
So I had rolled the actual first roll was a 12 for my will. which would be a success by 3.
You got to re-roll it for the game, man. Everybody's got to see it.
Yeah, reroll it.
18, 18,
Okay.
18, 18, 18, 18.
Better.
So you will immediately see through Tycho's attempt to distract you. Can you make a perception roll? With that roll, you will also see Valtteri open the little metal cylinder. He sort of unscrews the two halves and pulls out a message. You are, however, let's have make a universe roll to see if you have enough time to stop him from reading it. On a good roll.
Who are you talking to there?
That's Tansen.
And apologize, I couldn't quite hear. What role am I making?
Make a universe roll.
Universe.
Universe reaction. All right, so
Nice.
you see all this taking place, before Valtteri can read the message, if you so choose to stop him from reading it.
I do.
I will fall on the table and try to filch it.
What the hell, dude?
Use acting like I tripped.
All right, so role play it. You see Valtteri pull out a message, a little rolled up bit of paper.
So I see Valtteri is pulling it out. I notice that my attempts to fast talk Tansa and distract him is not working. So I'm basically going to trip and fall on the table and basically whatever's on there, try to spray it on the floor. But I'll filch the paper from his hand if
That's
I can.
not filch. That's going to be pickpocket.
That's
Well,
actually more
no.
filch because I'm not pickpocketing.
Filch is an attempt to do it without being noticed. So
Exactly.
if you're grabbing this bit of paper that's currently being held by Valtteri and Tansen has, seen this bit of paper, people are going to know that it's no longer in Valtteri's hands, and you just fell over the table and stuff. If it makes a difference, you will recall that your mission was to not involve Tansen if it can be avoided. So it's not like at all costs. Stop Tansen from knowing.
Okay. I guess.
So it depends on how far you wish to push this.
Bungle everything.
Yeah, because if he does do the stumble and fall forward, then Atticus is actually going to react to this because he's been acting really suspicious to him. And that's going to be the whole, step blade comes out and it's like right there, like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you acting so weird?
Good God, man. Did you fix the dice?
No, I didn't push any buttons except dice rolling.
Well, I'm not affected by your intimidation. Sorry.
But everyone else is. So it would appear that Tansen is getting things just got real.
Tycho will back down. He'll back up.
My lord, if I may, the contents of this container were not meant for your eyes. You were not meant to be aware of this, but since you are, it'll be up to you to keep that secret.
Very well. I
I
wish we
promise.
made a
I promise if it's just her phone number, then we'll give it back to you and pretend we saw nothing.
I wish to be involved in the goings on of the house, and so I shall become party to the knowledge of the note. However, I can understand if you wish to keep it from my grandmother.
Okay. Well, you're going to be in charge eventually anyway, so.
And then Tansen will give a nod to Atticus, the stand down.
All right, what's on the note?
All right, so you unroll the message, and it simply says, "The Atreides garden, 8 p.m. Come with your bodyguard."
My lord, we will need to be present for that meeting.
What is the nature of this scheme that you find yourselves wrapped up in?
Information gathering, what our house is known for.
Yeah, I don't know if obviously we want to tell you as little as possible. I'm thinking.
You would know the reasons why Gwendolyn has requested that there be a plausible deniability, because as the heir to the house, it's important for Tansen not to be implicated in anything that could be, bad or serious.
So, my lord, the information this woman is wanting to provide is part of what our house is good at doing, getting information. We do not need you involved, so it doesn't implicate our house.
Well, he's involved now.
He just knows about the tube.
No,
we can still be
he knows
proxies.
what's on it.
All it says is a meeting place.
Yeah, that was meant for him. She wants to meet with him.
I can disguise myself as him.
I don't know if you can pull that off.
Well, regardless of how the intention was for this event to go, the implication appears to be that I am to be involved whether or not my grandmother wishes it. And so I will go.
So, I think what Val would tell Tansen is that there is to be an exchange of information, and you should go and play along with whatever game she's up to, and come see us when it's over.
Oh, you guys are going to go as well. You know that's going to happen.
Well,
I
the
had
note
no
only
intention of rushing
requested the bodyguard, but I'm sure
ensure
we'll be
your bodyguard.
nearby.
It was ensure your bodyguard is present.
Where's
Well,
the meeting taking place?
She didn't say come alone in the garden, quote unquote.
I can disguise myself as a groundskeeper.
You could pick up a bush and sort of move around. No one will notice you.
Pretty much. I'm tending to the garden. I'm just a servant.
You could just be a
Groundskeeper
bush.
Willie.
Yeah, so that's our pitch at this point. So Tonson intends to play along then? Question mark.
Yeah.
Sweet, you can put your sex appeal to use.
We can dye her hair red if you get her attention.
Okay, so you have a couple of hours, or a few hours before, probably more than a few hours, several hours before the reception. So if there's any particular preparations that you would like to make, now's the time to make them. Otherwise, we'll move forward to the reception.
I actually am going to prepare by trying to figure out where the least observed area of the garden might be, and let Tonson know that that's a great place to meet.
And if I can, I will see if I can obtain some servant's gear or gardening, whatever, so I can disguise myself as a gardener.
Well, if it's at night, that's gonna stand out.
Oh, it is a night. Okay. Maybe I can be a guard.
Well,
I
you've
mean,
already
they're gonna
got
have
the
a-
servant gear,
Yeah, servant gear. Yeah, I already have that.
so
I
you
could just
can-
be a
you can
servant.
still wander around. Yeah.
There's nothing to say that you got. The invitation extends to you guys. So whatever entourage Hanson wants to bring along to the reception, he's welcome to bring.
I think the preference would be to keep it small, purely just as a, it's less intrusive. So if Tycho
So
wants
just
to
before.
try to,
So I could dress up as your personal servant.
See, that's actually his thing. Is Tycho should have a quirk. It's like he likes to dress up. He's secretly a cosplayer, or whatever the equivalent is in Dune. Oh God, you're a face dancer.
So is
Yeah, so
Tycho
Tycho
going to dress up?
Yeah, I'll dress up as Tanson's personal servant.
Right, give me a disguise roll.
Well, at
In the
least they
box
don't.
or out in the open?
Out in the open.
At least they don't have facial rec AI.
No, that's what they got Mentats for. That's what you're going to discover. We're going to discover she's secretly Mentat trained.
Okay.
were
Tycho.
there female mentats?
I don't think there were. I believe there's a reason for it. No, I can't remember.
Yeah, 'cause that's I was wondering. Mentat is the masculine logic, Bene Gesserit is the feminine, and that's what makes Paul is he's both, or has the perception of both.
Yeah, I know. It's just I am aware that I think the latest Dune RPG actually had a picture. This is like clearly supposed to be a female Mentat, and I do believe in the much later books that some of the women were looking. Yeah, some of the Reverend Mothers were also lesser trained Mentats,
Oh, okay.
but that's much later. As in thousands of years.
I also have the perk Forgettable Face, if that helps.
Right, so you are suitably disguised as someone not Tycho. Is
Yeah.
Valtieri doing anything special? Or are you just putting on your fancy duds?
I am just putting on fancy duds and planning on hanging back somewhere. I think what's probably going to happen is they're going to go out to do this meeting, and I'm going to hang back and keep an eye out from a upper level.
And is Atreides doing anything special other than putting on his fancy duds?
Well, he's already wearing that stuff, so he's not taking it off.
So he doesn't have like a formal version of his outfit. He wears a suit
Yeah, I thought
all
we
the
were
time.
already wearing. I thought we were already wearing the formal version for the reception. The formal uniforms over the armor, since it's the flexible body armor stuff.
Okay, that's fine. No other particular things that you wish to do? Do you report the findings to your handlers?
Nope.
Not at this time. We don't have anything to really report yet.
Well, there is one thing to report: the fact that you're putting the air in danger.
That might be a reason not to report it.
Exactly. We have nothing to report at this time.
Okay, well, assuming nothing else, then the evening rolls around and you guys find yourself at in the Atreides ballroom, where various dignitaries from Paladin through to others from around the Empire, those that have corporate positions here, but maybe off-worlders, they're also here. So there is probably 100 or so people gathered, and you guys will be a part of that. The meeting time was 8 p.m. Is there anything that you wish to do prior to that, after your arrival, or are you going to just schmooze, do your rounds, do your thing, and then wait for the meeting, or what's the plan?
Tycho will always be keeping his ears open to any snippets of conversation, so he can recall those if needed.
Valtteri is going to trail Tenson as normal and keep looking for assassination attempts, that sort of thing.
You
Might be a
will
good
see.
idea for Val to also go to the place beforehand, pre-scout it out.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do that anyway.
Okay, so you will see
Actually
your
thinking going in
contact.
person.
You'll see your contact in the crowd, and you are skilled enough to know that she is actively trying to avoid Tansen. So if Tansen comes close and she's talking to someone, she'll move in the opposite direction, so as to actively avoid mingling with him. You will note there's only one Sarduakar in this sort of ballroom, and it's he's standing off to the side, and there's like he does not lose eye contact with your contact. Everywhere she moves, he maintains like constant eye contact, just watching her every move. the Sarduakar, having the reputation they do, is somewhat intimidating to people. And even though he's standing, in this room, there's other like bodyguards and stuff like that that are nearby as well. But he's on his own, and people sort of give him a berth as they sort of transit his area.
It's also the chef hat. The chef hat's turning them off too.
No, we're not doing chef hat versions.
I was going to ask how you know that that's a Sardaukar.
The blood.
The chef hat.
That is what they look like. He does not have his helmet on.
Okay, so they wear their armor all the time.
Correct.
Then that's how you know.
So, is anyone going to attempt to contact or mingle with her prior? At this point, it only appears that she's actively avoiding Tansen. She's most likely not aware of the rest of you. And I assume Atticus will be always nearby
Yep.
Tansen as well.
So am I dressed as a servant?
You would be dressed as a servant, or however you want to have disguised yourself.
So if I'm dressed as a servant, am I helping to pass out beverages or stuff like that?
You would not be an Atreides servant. That would be
But I'd
weird.
be more of Tansen's servant, so I could be getting him beverages back and forth.
Right, so you'll be
It's like,
in Atreides, Danann attire, and you'll be fetching drinks for Tansen and snacks or hors d'oeuvres and all that sort of stuff.
so if there is an opportunity that presents itself that I can fetch Tansen a drink, that when Lady Mania is near the beverage counter or thing, I can do that, and just if I need to pass a note or something like that for Tansen, or listen in on any conversations or something like that.
All right, so are you going to do anything like this?
Nope. He will hold to the plan, and seeing that she's trying to keep her distance, and he will play along with that and mingle with other guests and dignitaries until the time for the meeting.
Give me a roll on savoir faire. Those of you that have it, you can make a roll on savoir faire and see how well you handle yourself in this. Do you stain the house reputation at all?
I am being a servant. Should I do acting instead?
Savoir faire is
What
the
is the default?
roll IQ and we'll see if it matters. Okay, so it's probably going to be IQ -5, I think.
I think with savoir-faire it's going to be 4.
IQ -4. Right, so none of you do anything terrible. Atticus, I guess.
Looks like a bodyguard and doesn't try to hide it.
So when people come close and they're being friendly and stuff, Atticus is probably sort of hovering over them, like
Yep.
I'm watching you.
Yep.
Tycho maybe accidentally spills a drink as he's delivering it to Tansen or something like that. Oops.
Not to that extent.
About 5 minutes before time, you'll see your contact head. Oh, actually, Beltieri, you were going to go into the gardens beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's not
Actually,
good.
it's in the middle of me racing to
This bodes
pick
well.
them.
It's not a hex map.
It sure looks like a hex map.
I see hexes.
And you don't. Okay, so this is the gardens. While this area here shows grass and trees and branches and stuff like that, this is actually a cliff that falls off into the ocean. There is waves that crash along rocks down the bottom. The off the map in that direction is the way you would come if you were to walk into the gardens from the ballroom.
So given the basic layout here, what Valtteri is looking for are places where if the two of them happen to be walking, they could break line of sight with the bodyguard.
That would depend on how close the bodyguard follows, but this
So he's going to analyze the potential walking patterns, find the best spots, one or two, and recommend using them.
this area here is somewhat shielded from view from the ballroom.
Right.
So there's a wall and there's the sort of hedge and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of cover. It's not like complete. You might see just like heads appearing over the hedge. But in the darkness, there's a degree of concealability. There are dim lights that sort of sort of cover this area in a very calming, I guess, romantic light.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I will catch Tonson at some point and tell him that that's the best place to be positioned.
Very well, thank you, Valtteri.
Unless you want to hang by your fingertips off the wall.
No, I'll leave that to Atticus should the need ever arise.
As you say.
All right, well, if it's getting close to time and the lady's already out there, then I will begin to make my way out to the gardens.
So about 5 minutes before she sort of heads out, she has a drink in hand. She sort of wanders out and she'll look around, making sure, probably checking that the area is vacant, and this area happens to be vacant at this point. She will, as she exits, her Sarduakar bodyguard will sort of intercept her and follow her out of the ballroom and into the garden area. He will initially wait, but you will see that your contact, or at least Valtteri will see this, because your Valtteri is set up to observe elsewhere. So Valtteri, you'll see that the Sarduakar was going to wait and sort of give her privacy or whatever, but she calls him over to follow her.
Okay.
She's gonna push him off. That would be hysterical.
Right, so who is going out? Let me just put you there in this minute.
It's not a combat map, Matt.
Uh-huh.
It's not a combat map.
Uh-huh.
I'll follow, but discreetly. I'll try to either shadowing or stealth.
Fly casual. All right. I forgot about that. I wonder if I should do a different version of the token that it's cut off to the exact size. At least in these cases, there's not much hanging over.
Okay, so position yourselves where you would like to be.
So which way are you? Are we coming around the left or the right side?
You're coming
Oh,
from
we're,
the top.
we're on the left.
With the exception of those people that are actually going to go meet with her. So you can, those people that are going to meet can plonk yourselves, in the center there. Those that are observing from a distance, put yourself to where you are going to be observing from.
That's interesting.
Stop moving.
I'm assuming Valtteri is going to be in some kind of balcony or something like that.
Is that like a ledge area? Is that like
It's a rail.
wall? A rail. And then you have stairs going down, so that's a lower level underneath it.
Correct.
Is he going to leap out of the rabbit?
All right, so you're maneuvering into positions and stuff, with the exception of possibly Valtteri, who is up in a balcony or something like that. The rest of your movements will be observed by the Sarduakar. He stands beside Manuia as you guys approach, and as you get close, he then steps forward and steps in front to present himself as an obstacle. He gives you that I'm going to sort of mess you up look.
I immediately counter with the exact same maneuver. And lick.
Your contact says, sort of calls off the Sarduakar and says, "It is okay." To which he sort of looks back sideways, not really taking an eye off you guys. Looks back sideways. You'll see that she nods. She nods and says, "It's okay." At which point he will then step back and
Yeah, and I expect that Atticus will basically be doing mirror image of him, and the two of them probably don't look at anybody but each other. Because, I figure the Sardaukar are probably trained by a master or weapon master themselves.
Honestly, I'm thinking it.
I wonder.
Tycho Kane being just pretending to be Tanson's servant, he would just be right next to him, pretty much.
Like maybe fake cowering away from the Sardaukar when the guy jumps up there.
Yeah.
so Atticus being somewhat similar trained, you will see that the Sardaukar, while he looks casual and sort of just like intimidating, his stance casual, but at a moment's notice, his hands are within, a split second of grabbing his swords, and his shield, his personal shield could be activated in a second. So you can just see that his posture is, "I'm ready," basically.
Yep. Yeah, the two of us are probably looking at one another, and if anybody looks at either of us, we're clearly doing the appropriate murder math in our heads about how to take one another out.
Okay, so Tycho, at this point, as a servant, you would not have been armed.
I probably would still have my ring on me if no one has
That's
noticed.
not a
so-
weapon you use in combat, though.
But I would
Not
still
really.
have it. I'm not armed, but I would still have it, just in case.
And I also think, as a servant at this point, it'd be one of those where it's like if Tonson gestures, you'd like probably fall back a couple steps or something, to await his additional instruction.
Yep. Whatever Tanson requests.
Yes, he would go along with that just to keep up formality, personal
Play the
servant
part.
in this kind of meeting.
All right, so does Tanson say anything as he approaches?
Yeah, how are you gonna approach this? You're gonna do it like it's a complete surprise that the two of you happen to be at the same spot?
Probably this lovely evening, is it not?
How cliched.
She says, "It is." And she'll sort of look up at the sky, which is like overcast because it has just been raining, and she says, I have not been on Caravan. It is a very beautiful place. Is it Lord Danann? Tamsin Danann?
Indeed, your lady.
What brings you to the garden this evening?
Schmooze, man, schmooze.
Characters get at it, players not.
So move yourself to where you would be standing and talking to her.
So you can make sure you're in line for the sniper.
Pretty much.
Where Taika would probably be at his right hand, a couple paces back.
Yeah, probably.
So Atticus and the Sarduakar are giving the what's up?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're looking at one another, and he's adjusted. He's like, okay, I can see he's trained, and I'm doing. Yep, he knows what he's doing. This will be a fight if it comes down to it.
Has Atticus ever fought the Sarduakar before?
I don't know actually. I don't. The canon isn't really clear on how often they were actually deployed.
Yeah, they're actually.
And from what I recall, one of the things that I think it's in the first book is that the Sardaukar are kind of sloppy now. They're not as awesome as they used to be because they haven't had a real fight in forever, which is why they're like, oh hey, these Fremen are pretty badass.
I think I remember some description along those lines.
No, I thought weren't they the Emperor's troops?
They
They are the
So
Emperor's
you
troops.
don't really have any reason
So
to be
unless-
fighting them.
So it'd be more of the
Yeah.
GM's discretion to see if we at House Danann and the Emperor were ever at odds, and there was a scuffle that we were involved with.
No,
Well, it's up to
one of
Atticus.
there's a line in the first book. I think it's after Paul has escaped and he's talking to Liet Kynes, where he specifically states that the whole Dune or the whole Arrakis situation is something that all of the houses of the Landsraad are afraid of, where the Sardaukar are suddenly being unleashed on the house troops. So it's entirely possible that no, unless it was by accident. Or maybe there was, I wonder if the Sardaukar ever. I don't think the canon goes into whether the Sardaukar ever attempt to become swordmasters at Ganaz. I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. Where's it at? Let's find out. The universe is cold and indifferent. So if he has, he's not aware of it.
All right. So is Atticus intimidated by this man in front of him at all?
I think he might be very respectful of the frickin' the reputation, but do I have? Let me check. Let me check.
But is it
No, I do
social?
not.
Is it social regard? Or
They might have, yeah, social regard feared. I could totally see the Sardaukar having that.
Yeah.
so you would be intimidated as much as the social regard feared trait.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Think that just adds a thing to their
Yeah, probably.
rep. I don't remember. Yeah, it's a +1 to reaction rolls to a maximum of +4. This is not a reputation though. you're treated well because of what you are, not because of who you are. So yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay, so others react to you as much as you could successfully use intimidation.
Well, I think the end result is going to be he is the minimal level of intimidated. That is, he's not going to pick a fight.
Well, that's also a thing about Atticus is he doesn't pick fights. He won't start a fight, but he'll do his damnedest to finish one.
Well, what I mean to say is that he recognizes that he is a threat, and a potentially greater threat.
Oh yeah, it's like I suspect if we just ended up if there's like a 20-minute conversation between Tonson and Lady Manula, whatever that takes place. If we walked away, I would have had no idea what was said because I am hyper focused on the Sarduakar.
While Tycho is going to be listening to everything you say.
Okay, so she will then sort of casually walk with Tansen. Sort of this
Tycho-
way.
And Tycho will basically keep his 2 steps back or whatever on his right side.
The Sarduakar will move to follow, but she will raise her hand and instruct him to stay where he is.
I think Atticus is probably going to do the same. Like start to follow Tonson, and if he like says stay there, then he's gonna stay there, and then we'll engage in a stare off. Maybe
So-
even
He
a
will.
friendly. Yeah, go ahead.
Tansen will mirror the gesture and keep both us and her on equal footing.
All right, so as she walks away, you'll see the Sarduakar's attention turns less from Atticus to watching carefully Tansen and Lady. But he does have like one eye on Atticus as well. But his attention is definitely focused on those two. She says, I have some information. And she says this in a sort of very hushed tone with her back to the Sarduakar. I have some information that could be beneficial to our houses.
Do proceed, milady.
There is a complication, however. My bodyguard will report that I have spoken to you. And this will put us in danger. If we are to proceed, then I need you to kill my bodyguard.
Sorry, did you say clear or kill?
Kill. No evidence of our meeting can take place.
Very well.
Well,
Wouldn't
That'll
a dead
be
Sarduakar be evidence?
We'll have to figure out a way of hiding the body or making it
There's a perfectly
unrecognizable.
wonderful cliffside.
Yeah, I
about
was
3
going to
feet that way.
say.
Well, if it must be done, milady, then Tansen will turn towards Atticus and give the nod.
Okay. Well,
Wait a minute. Do we have to do it now, or can we
I have been
plan
given the
taking
nod.
him out?
Things get
What?
really complicated really
Did-
fast.
So
What? You need him to
hold
die?
on. Just
Sure.
1 second. 1 second. Wait a minute. All right. So Tanson's smart, right? Is she saying we have to kill him right now, or we have to kill him in order for the information to eventually be given over?
Well, she said that this meeting, essentially, this meeting did not happen. The Sarduakar will report that this meeting happened.
So Tanson, you
Basically,
know
I
I'm
cannot be seen
stealthy.
talking to you.
Ask me to go get a drink, and I'll walk away. That way I can try to circle around the Sarduakar.
That's not actually a terrible idea. Where if what level is Tycho's stealth at?
16.
Okay, yeah, so that's not a terrible idea. Where it's like if Tonson's like, yeah, okay, and then to Tycho does the I think I need a drink, and Tycho swings around and tries to come up and garrote the dude.
That would work. Because he doesn't have his shield up, and right now his attention is more on Atticus and Tanson. He's kind of ignoring me because I'm a servant.
Right, but you would, at least Atticus knows in game mechanics, he's taking the weight maneuver.
Me too. Both of us have got max evaluate probably.
So you could say, turn around and be like, hey, Tycho, go get me a drink, please. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I'll mention something along those lines in the house code. That's a much better idea than just, hey, Atticus, stab him. So.
Oh, Atticus was gonna go for it.
Oh, I heard your tone when. Yep.
So Tycho will basically exit line of sight of the Sarduakar, and then he will double back around.
So how does this
And
happen?
so once he's out of sight of the
So,
Sarduakar, and he
let me
knows
just-
that the Sarduakar.
Let me just fix up the facing. I forgot Unity's backwards on the scroll. So his facing is that way. Atticus is still in a forward hex, but he's keeping like one eye on him. So how do you look to proceed to sort of get out of his line of sight?
Well, once he tells me, I'll just be like, "Yes, my lord," and I'll start walking away. And as soon, so what is his line of sight? Can we see that? Can you show that to me, kind of?
He can see 180 degrees from his facing.
I would go back the way we came, and I would circle around. Now, the walls that are there, I'd probably go across through the garden and then start sneaking up behind them.
Okay, that will be a penalty to your stealth. I'll say -2 to not rustle.
So I'd be like over here at this point where I'm right out of sight, and then I'd start sneaking across.
You would have to be in a rear hex, which is anything along that line. All right, so give me your stealth roll.
Wow.
Actually, no. I'll keep rolls hidden. So as you emerge from the garden, the Sarduakar will turn to see you. At
I
that,
engage.
so you've been given the. How is this communicated that Tansen wants you to engage the Sarduakar?
Well, if I couldn't sneak up on him and
No, I mean
you're
for
watching.
Atticus.
House code. He said he said to Tycho that he needed a drink in the code. However, that I don't have a clue what our code actually is.
Need a mimosa.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't either. It just
So it'd be an
it hints-
indication. Try to assassinate him if you can without him
And I am
noticing.
also presuming since wait, where is I need to zoom out because I was super zoomed in. Where is okay, so as soon as Tycho's coming out of there, he's like in a stealth, sort of a crouching kind of stealthy thing with the garrote out, then it's like, okay, well, I guess it's on.
Okay, so there are weights that have to trigger.
Yeah.
So Atticus will trigger first.
All right, so I'm going to be doing heroic charge. So burn that to cover the distance. I am going to be. I am not. I am presuming to activate the shield. That's like a ready action.
Correct.
Then I am
I-
not bothering going for the shield. Then this goes.
I would
to
say that
his
you could do a
training.
fast draw.
Well, he's got to fast draw the knife anyway. But I'm as stated previously. His original master or instructor at the Sword Masters sort of beat it into him. Don't bother with the shield unless you have to. So his plan is get in fast, hit the guy, and try to take him out before anything crazy can happen. So it'll be the heroic charge to get the step or long step. I'm not sure which one. Doesn't matter because it's ultimately the same with the fast draw, and then I will be doing the Gabe special almost.
So did the Sarduakar turn around to look at me? So is this facing different,
um,
or did he just swivel his head?
he swiveled his head. We are in weights at the moment.
Since the guy only beat him by one, he might Tycho might have actually gotten closer.
Fair point.
So this is going to be rapid strike. Since I'm a weapon master, that means I can rapid strike at -3 instead of -6. It is going to be the feint, followed by the target attack, knife thrust vitals. Making sure I got everything. That's not right.
How heavy is Sardaukar armor?
Well, based off of what we've seen with the stuff with Duncan, he's able to cut through it with knives without any problem.
I think that's because you use pulse blades. Pulse blades are like vibro blades.
Thought it said those didn't exist.
But he also, well, if you notice his attacks in the movie, it was the throats, the vulnerable spots. He was going for all the armor kinks.
Well, pulse blades are available. They're in the RPG. They call them pulse blades. So if you have a pulse blade, you could cut through pretty much anything.
Well, I think the
Okay,
question
fine.
there is how common those are.
Okay, so you do the feint first.
Yes.
So I'll get you to roll on your skill for the feint.
Yep, that is my feint.
Oh, but you.
By 6,
So
yeah.
6. It's going to be funny if you just straight up murder this badass Sarduakar.
You know how this works.
Right, I forgot about that. We have max evaluates. So that's like plus
Ouch.
3. Evaluate maxes out at 3, right?
I believe so.
So that would have been success by 9 instead of 6.
It would be offset by his max evaluate as well.
Yep. Sorry, my mistake, your fault. Yeah. Luckily, his feint is gonna try to fail that, because that's what -7 on the defense.
Okay, so is going to side slip. I can't remember the bonus to dodge.
One less.
So +2.
You need to roll another 17.
Please.
So he will side slip to there. He will use some extra effort.
And roll an 18.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
He doesn't have a name.
So he's at +4.
Doesn't have
Minus
it.
But
7.
he's going to fail.
Okay, so I don't know what the pulse stuff does.
It divides armor by 5.
That was a 5.
Okay, so that case, this is the. Oh yeah,
Haha.
that's just
So
with
it'd be
the
10 with
yeah.
a divisor of 5. Nice.
But yeah,
Ooh,
to the vittles.
I hate this.
Hey, what?
One shot. Probably one kill.
Mhm. Well, you know.
That's
It
what
happens.
Atticus is here for.
And you know
does.
what's totally working there is Tonson's not even turning around to see this. He's just continuing to stare out and chat with the Lady Manula, who like turns around and sees the dude on the ground and like,
So
what?
Did you
the
want
vibra
a
blades,
mimosa too?
The vibra blades add 1d. Oh, it's 1d to cutting, and it's a 80 armor divisor 5 if it's super fine. Yep, never mind.
I mean,
Cuts, I thought it was the rest
in
of it.
all honesty, the Sarduakar was distracted. All of a sudden, he sees Tycho Kane almost on him. That's when Atticus reacts, when he notices that the Sardaukars start to react. So it just happened.
Okay, death roll.
Fail, 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 fail.
18.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Hit. So he doesn't straight up fail his death roll. This will be his knockdown roll.
At -5, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He gets +1. So he's at 12. So that would be a fail by 3. So fail by 8. Shit.
Who?
So
And I don't-
that's
and I don't feel
unconscious,
as-
isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I don't feel as bad about asking if he has high pain threshold.
well, it doesn't matter. It's only he does, but it's +3. But
Yeah.
that's not going to help him.
No.
All right. So he goes down.
Yeah.
You bury your knife into his chest, and he just collapses to his knees. He looks at you. He grabs your leg and then says something in his native tongue. I don't recall what the language is, but it sounds very, very like jarring and like Klingon-esque in its tone. And then he just sort of drops forward to his feet. Sorry, at your feet.
And I will come up and basically behead him.
We don't need to be heading.
He's not dead yet. We can't have
Oh, yeah.
any
Hey,
chances.
yeah. I have bloodlust. He is dead.
I have
He-
bloodlust
he-
too.
He's not gonna. Yeah, he's not gonna be getting out of there.
Keeping
I
in
am
Be
mind,
careful, the bigger the mess you make, the harder it'll be to clean up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't want to decapitate him. That'd be super messy. I mean, I stabbed him like in the heart, sort of thing, and that's not going to leave a lot of blood. And then stab him again.
Yeah, as long as you leave the knife in him until you get him over to the side anyway.
It's okay. Well, wait a minute. Let me roll my bloodlust, see if I don't do it.
Yeah, if Tycho is an experienced agent,
Yeah, why
he's
would-
going to
what-
know how
yeah.
to get rid of bodies.
And that's a terrible idea to have bloodlust for a spy.
I'm trained in beheading people. Eh,
Then you're not a spy. You're an assassin.
I'm bold.
They're a little different.
Well, there is some overlap.
At any rate, he is deceased.
very much.
Okay, so we'll help. Basically, we will dispose of the body.
Not nice.
Meanwhile, Valtteri was not expecting that. Nearly drops his opera glasses off the balcony.
Yeah, have you seen? Has Voltaire's newish, right?
Newish.
So he might not have seen Atticus actually in action, other than exercise and training.
Well, yeah, I suppose not.
You're probably less intimidated by the Sarduakar now.
I am. Yeah, I'm like that. That was a Sarduakar. Huh. Well,
upon
maybe
hearing-
he. Yeah, maybe he was. Maybe he was a retired or injured or something.
It was distracted. I distracted him for you. You got the killing blow.
Upon hearing the thud of the Sarduakar body hitting the ground, Tense Mollusk, apologies for the interruption, my lady. Shall we continue?
And what are you doing with the body? Are you going to let it bleed out on the floor there?
No,
No.
Tycho will get it over to probably the
Yeah,
edge
I will
and throw
probably
it over.
carry it because I'm fairly certain I'm the strongest one.
Yeah,
I'll help.
let's see. That fight took a second. So basically, Tonson said, "Hey, go fetch me a mimosa." And a few seconds later, they're hauling a body past him saying, "Ah, we got it."
And he's like, I'm still waiting for my mimosa.
In a
Like
moment,
one
sir.
lady.
In a moment. As soon as we chuck this body over the edge.
Right, so you're going to dispose of the body over the edge?
I'm not sure if
Or
that
we
is
could
totally
hide-
the best, but
Or
I
we
don't
can
know
hide
where.
it in the other places to hide it in the garden. I mean,
No, we don't want.
I would say over the edge in the water. I mean,
Yeah, somebody will find it in the garden. You don't want to put it there.
yeah, so just over the edge in the water, it'll float eventually. Someone will find it eventually, but
So this is, you said this is a cliff. It goes straight down. How far down?
Like um, a good sort of 50 to 60 yards, sort of, cliff diving
Oh, that's
heights.
not as far as I was thinking. But I was thinking nothing else. We might also contact, or via comms or whatever, to Valtteri to go retrieve the body and relocate it. Actually, that might be something that that Tycho does. It's like, he goes over the side, and then he's like, if you'll excuse me, there's work for me to do, and he goes off, and the body gets eaten by fish or something.
that'll work. I can use my garrote and chop it up into many different pieces, so they never find it.
I guess if you have a tradecraft skill, you could roll that, and that would represent how well you dispose of this body.
I would just no. I don't have a tradecraft skill. I just more of have the garrote skill.
You don't have professional skill.
Well, he might not have known about him.
That's not a part of. That's not a standard GURPS skill. That was something that we figured out later. So he wouldn't have known about that. He may want to add that though.
So
But
it would
honestly-
be professional skill.
Just tradecraft.
Yeah, just tradecraft.
So IQ minus what?
5, I think it's average.
Yeah, you might just look over your skills and see if you have something that's it. You got 4 points in, or that you can reduce it and it doesn't screw the skill too terribly, and then just put the 2 points into profession tradecraft.
Yeah, we're still in the grace period, so
Yeah,
can
it's
make
like
adjustments.
when Brian threw out the frickin' doohickey here, I was starting to the map. I was starting to panic because I had been looking over my character and realized, oh crap, I messed this up and I need to fix this. And I was like in the process of trying to track down why I had a character point discrepancy between the two. And I'm like, oh no, we're gonna go into combat, and my character's all messed up.
Well, maybe I can reduce lock picking.
It appears your character was just
fortitude.
fine and you didn't have anything to worry about.
Oh, I
And then-
managed to fix it before we got to that part.
Should I reduce my lock picking from 4 to 2? That will give me
What level is the
it's at 14 right now.
Oh yeah, I'd totally do that. 13 is still pretty good.
I wonder if you ever actually
I'll up it.
encounter an analog lock.
I think lockpicking is still used for
Yes.
electronic locks to some degree.
There's
No,
there's
it's electronic obscurity.
no, but there's actually yeah,
Electronic lock picking. I do have electronic lock picks, so they are used with the lock picking skill.
Yeah, so that's what I'd do. I'd reduce that by 2, and then then add profession tradecraft, which is what's that going to be? IQ average.
So is
put
it
2 in that'll put you pretty nicely on the.
Is that professional skill?
Yeah, it's just
Or-
like professional. That's the I think that's what it's called.
So what? Professional skill spy?
Yeah, professional
Or,
skill, and then we have tended to call it tradecraft.
okay, just this professional skill tradecraft. All right.
Because that's the catch-all for the spies doing spy stuff. Like, oh hey, I need to. Where would I put or hide this flash drive? Or hey, I need to signal to some people. How would I do that? Those catch-all skills that aren't covered by
So
actual skills.
my skill level is at 13 then. All right.
Yeah, so bam, that's pretty good. And let's see how well you got rid of the body then. That's pretty good. Though why didn't it say success by?
Because
you
I
didn't
just
roll off it. Yeah, you didn't
I
roll
just
off
do it. It's success by so 13 minus 9. So I
4.
succeeded by what? 4?
Math is hard.
I just have to. I still haven't added my skill yet.
I
Doing
know.
it in GCA.
Gotcha.
All
gotcha.
right, so you do a good job of disposing of this this body. It is unlikely that anytime soon his whereabouts will be discovered. It is a rather gruesome job, though, because
Yeah, but
Tycho.
he's indomitable.
Yeah, okay.
I'm indomitable, and I'm also I have bloodlust, so I'm not worried about blood.
Unfortunately, you will not be able to do this without soiling your servant's outfit, so you will not be returning to the party. Or if you do,
Actually,
you'll look like a
indomitable
butcher.
wouldn't apply there.
It'd be unfazable.
Yeah, that'd be normally unfazable. Yeah.
But I would say with my bloodlust, that probably
No. Bloodlust is just you want to, when you're in a fight, you want to kill your opponent, not necessarily that you want to send blood flying everywhere and butchery.
okay.
Let's
Maybe
see.
eventually I'll get unfazable too.
Give me
But
a will roll.
do I need a will? Okay.
Yeah, you guys have crazy high rolls, so I don't know what you're worried about.
So you're probably thinking, damn, this is disgusting.
This sucks. This is terrible. I would have preferred to have brought him a mimosa.
All right, so but you will be, covered in gore, so you will not be returning to the party. How will
Luckily, there's a nearby ocean to get into and wash it off.
so Tycho will exit stage left via the ocean?
Yeah,
We
I
never see him
will-
again. He
at
got
this
eaten by
point-
sharks.
at this point, since I will have after disposing, I would have to discreetly make my way back to my quarters or wherever without being seen.
All right, give me a dex or climbing roll. Dex is at -5 if you don't have climbing. This will represent how well you sort of negotiate these cliffs and get away. Do you come out of it unscathed, basically?
Oh boy.
You don't have
I
climbing?
wholeheartedly recommend not rolling an 18.
I do not have climbing.
So dex
Well,
-5.
you're not that kind of spy then. And he died.
So you don't fall or anything like that, but you will have like cuts and bruises that will be noticeable.
Well, I am wearing my armor, so maybe not.
Your armor is only flexible, so you'll still have some bruises and maybe like cuts on your face and hands. So you're not entirely unscathed. You've taken no hit points sort of damage, but you come out of it looking pretty rough.
Part of the job.
All right. How does Valtteri react when he sees this go down, since you're not present?
Yeah, like I said, he nearly dropped his opera glasses, but other than that, he's just going to play it off like nothing's happening. Presuming it's relatively quiet up here in the balcony.
All right. Give me a perception roll.
But it's going to be continuing to look for
Or perception or
anyone headed out that
observation.
direction. Yeah.
Damn.
And give me a universe roll.
Uh-oh. Thufir Hawit's going to suddenly appear next to you and go, that was some pretty sweet killing. I never
Okay,
liked
so-
Sarduakar.
As almost simultaneously as this happens, you will hear from behind you a group of people that have drinks in hand, and they all seem to be heading to the balcony that you're on to get a bit of fresh air. There is, on a roll of 6, we will say it's a party of. Actually, we'll get the dice to the side. Who hasn't done a roll recently? Get 10. Roll a d6. This will be +3. All right, so 6 people, and these are all, important people that are sort of laughing and having a good old time. They're walking out onto the balcony just as this murder has just gone down. Valtteri, you have moments to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. I take a big swallow of whatever drink is in my hand and I immediately puke it right back up.
All right. How does one
All over
voluntarily
the
puke?
place. I don't mean actually swallow it, just basically spit it out. But
Okay. So you're making it look as if you're puking.
Yes.
You will.
Do you have acting? Would that be acting?
That could be acting, yes.
If you have acting.
I don't actually have it.
So defaults to IQ -5, I would believe.
However, that does have the IQ bonus.
Oh, yeah. And you're pretty smart. Crap, that means any of you people that use acting on me is going to get the IQ bonus.
Now, just crap. Now, that is not how I wanted that to work, but that would have been a success by 1, notwithstanding IQ bonuses. Right. I should have pulled that out of the traits. Yes.
And actually,
traits.
having some liquid to throw up would probably add as a bonus. So you feign throwing up on the balcony. This party suddenly loses its enthusiasm to come out onto this one, and they will back off. One of the guys will know you or recognize you, and he will say, Valtteri, are you all right?
Yeah, I'll just be doing the wiping my face on my sleeve and I'm all right. It's okay. I got this. I'll clean this up.
He walks out to you and pats you on the shoulder and says, maybe you should slow down.
Oh, I think there was something wrong with that one.
He will look out to the out across the balcony for a minute as he's there,
Oh dear.
but given darkness and distraction, that will fail.
I was about to say, and here goes the chain of then we have to kill this guy, and as we're doing him, there's another guy.
Mhm.
We suddenly depopulate Caladan before we leave. Thufir's like, I don't know who all these people are that keep dying.
Yeah, so darkness and distance result in fail. So he says, yeah, slow down. He might say old boy. Say, slow down, young man. The wine is strong. And there's a long night ahead. And then he will join the rest of the group and they will saunter off to somewhere else. You sort of straighten yourself up, turn around just as you see the body go over the rail,
Mhm.
and Tycho jumping the rail to do his thing.
All good. We're all good here.
Atticus is really gonna, bow to Tonson and bow to the lady, and then take back his place.
Given the fact that you just one-shotted this Sarduakar, she's going to be like jaw-dropped, surprised, amazed. So there'll be like a moment of stunned look on her face, and maybe there's some admiration there, like, you just got interesting.
And Atticus is like, will there be anything else, my lord?
Not at this moment, no.
Then back away to let them continue their conversation.
Yeah, later on, Thompson will be like, "Holy shit!
That was so awesome!
Bad thing is Tycho's not there to recall whatever conversation they have. Hopefully, this is going to be just a document exchange.
No, she wants to marry Tonson.
After that display, maybe not so much. She's looking Atticus up and down. Here's a man that can protect me.
Peace was never an option.
So she will then collect herself and say, this must be quick. We must return to the reception, so that none suspect, as should you. But she says, I'm not sure if you are aware, but my house has a small holding on Arrakis. Our spice mining rights are pitiful and barely cover our expenses. We utilize smugglers in order to move spice above our quota off-world. Even my would-be husband's influence cannot wrestle an ounce extra on our rights. The Harkonnen greed is immeasurable. One of our contacts has reported activity related to the Harkonnen, which is unbecoming of a house looking to depart Arrakis. It would seem that they are fortifying and doing so outside usual channels and outside the gaze of the Spacing Guild.
Need to stick the ferment on them.
Very interesting, my lady.
Actually, the idea of me dressing up as a Sarduakar and coming back, is that plausible?
I would say
Probably not.
probably not, simply because due to like body language and such like that.
Not to mention physique. The Sardaukar look like, muscle badasses. Igo's probably a little bit softer in form.
Well, I would say just temporarily, just to come back to throw people off, and then I would disappear.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
still
it's
funny to
potentially
think about.
dangerous.
Would we have, but do you think we're having those like in the Dune movie, we have those little communicators that they have embedded in us?
I was actually wondering about that because I don't know what
I
what
would
their
say
personal
yes.
personal communication capabilities are.
I would say yes, but I guess you would. There's the potential that your communications could be intercepted and decrypted. So, but yes, you would have them. So you'd be cautious of what you discuss. Actually, no. Decryption would not be a thing since they don't have computers. It would be meant at cryptographers.
You can still do cryptography. It's just you have to do it the old-fashioned way.
But you wouldn't be decoding communications very effectively.
Okay. But if there's a way that Tansen can open his comm link, that way Tycho can hear what's being said. That way, Tycho can remember the conversation word for word. Is that possible?
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it works like that. I don't know if the comm would pick up the discussions.
From what little I saw of, I think you see Doofer with one.
Doofer had one. The Duke had one.
But they were like subdermal.
Yeah.
So
subdermal.
they probably only pick up what he says or what the person who's implanted states. So it's like you could sub-vocalize and, it would relate, but it's not going to necessarily pick up what what that person's hearing. But I'm not sure.
Miking up Thompson would have been a great idea, wouldn't it?
You should have retroactively done that because you guys are really smart and would know this.
So maybe we would have mic'd them up so we can make sure the conversation is recorded.
At any rate,
So she will go on to. Do you have any sort of questions or anything like that of her at this point?
I suppose are there any holds in particular that the Harkonnen seem to be reinforcing?
She says, I am not sure, but we can gather further information from our contacts. if we can come to an agreement here.
What were you thinking in terms of such an agreement?
She says, my house is but a minor one. A massive wasp in here. 1 second while I get rid of it.
And that was the last we ever heard from him, as it was an Australian death wasp.
Yep.
That's true.
By the way, I think I just, if everybody saw it, shared it again. I have been updating that with links to the appropriate, the Spy Master and the Mentat, the ruler, as he's added them. Presuming everyone saw the House Danann thing again.
Mm-hmm. Is that always? Were we always able to do that as players?
I'm not sure, actually.
So what are we doing?
We're waiting for him to kill the Australian death wasp. Did you not hear that?
Or lose the epic battle.
Sorry
Or
about that.
lose because of... Oh, he
That was
did
a-
not
that was a-
die.
Big angry wasp.
No, this is the wasp talking.
Oh, right. The wasp
Yeah, he
killed
lost.
him and took his place.
Indeed.
So where did we get up
Hello,
to?
wasp.
Yes, if we can come to an agreement here, she says, we can gather further information. It could be
And
beneficial to both our houses.
And what terms are you seeking for such an arrangement?
My house is but
Don't you dare
small.
sell me off to marry her.
My house is but small and has little influence. As you know, the Atreides will take over the thief of Arrakis. We would like our house to get some favor from that arrangement. And, as a vassal to the Atreides, your word will carry more weight than mine.
Indeed, my lady. I'm sure you can understand that I cannot make any guarantees at such a point in time. However, I do agree that this arrangement is likely to be beneficial for both of our houses, and so I shall at the very least, raise the topic for discussion.
Where we go and tell the Atreides that it's a trap.
Nah. Actually, they already know it's a trap. They know it's a trap at this point.
Well, they suspect.
No, they, in the book, they straight up know it's a trap. They're like, yeah, we know what's going to happen. The Emperor is going to send Sarduakar disguised as Harkonnens. They just miscalculated the time frame.
So we go tell them that it's a trap, and they say, "Yeah, duh."
Are you just realizing that?
Unfortunately, those events are inevitable regardless of what you do. Because that would really mess with continuity.
Fixed point in time. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I will return on the Guild Highliner to Kaitain. Perhaps you can have some of your people join me
I do believe that can be arranged.
Why are you looking at me?
No reason.
They can't send Tycho. He'll cut somebody into cubes.
And I won't?
He says, "My lord, I will look for you." And she then turns to back to the party, unless there is something that you wish to say before she leaves. The assumption is that you're going to at least talk to whoever needs to be talked to, and if this is something that you want to investigate, gather intel that indicates, Harkonnen bad doings, that you will send someone on that Highliner with her.
Yeah, but the thinking is that Cancel will reach out to the intel department, gather some more information based off of past dealings or observations of House Tanyelu, and based upon that, potentially take that up, and then depending on how that all turns out, potentially send someone along with the Highliner.
When does it leave?
It will be leaving tomorrow.
So we've got roughly 24 hours to deal with it. Somewhat less than that, probably.
But then you guys have grounds to, meet and do stuff like that because you're farming experts.
Yeah, but it's going off world, so we can't. I don't think anybody can make that call without getting permission from higher up.
Well,
Correct.
this is the point in which we are going to have to get a hold of the Mentat and Spy Master and start conveying our information that we have received.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that you
is gonna be
wish to ask her before she leaves?
Not at this time.
Will you marry me?
Well, that might solve some problems.
No, she's already betrothed to somebody, though.
That means she's not married yet.
And it is you, well, at least those people in the know that it's purely a political thing for political gain.
It's always a purely political thing.
And things may happen. The Atreides take over Arrakis, and it's politically viable. Maybe the wedding to the Harkonnen Benedict
That's true.
can be
We might
another.
we might be looking at Tonson's future spouse.
Maybe. So she will walk off. She will give Hanson a seductive sort of look over the shoulder, being all pretty like. She'll then continue into the party as if nothing has happened. And fortunately, it would appear that no one has noticed this exchange.
Nothing did happen. What are you talking about?
Except for Tycho, who's covered in blood and gore, has some like scratches, bruises from climbing over rocks. You guys come back all happy and a little bit drunk, and Tycho's like a mess. Glad you had fun, boys. What were you doing while I was hacking up a body?
Contemplating how easily it was to kill a Sarduakar.
Yeah, that surprised me. You did a really good job, Atticus.
All right. And as we're at time, I think that's probably a good place to leave it.
Indeed.
So remember, you got 2 more sessions to chop and change characters.
What are you doing in terms
Right.
of character points for this?
We,
1, 2, 5.
I think the standard 2, standard 2 would work.
Groovy.
2 it is.
If someone does anything spectacular, it might be worth a bonus point.
Like, say, one-shotting a Sarduakar.
Well, that is kind of its own reward.
Yeah, and it was really just the dice.
It's always just the dice.
And frankly, that was just compensation for all those shitty die rolls earlier.
It's still really funny. I was chatting via PM with Ethan, and I agree with him. I was totally. He was like worried, and I was worried that it was gonna like drag on. It's gonna be a long fight, and guests would be alerted and all that stuff. And nope.
Murphy's Law.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll come back and hit us next time.
Next time, I should put like a really weedy guy there who looks like he can't fight at all. Well, he actually can't fight. He only has like a kitchen knife, but he'll kick your ass.
No, that's how you do it.
Dude,
is
I've
you
seen
put
that
somebody
shit
up
all
there
the
that
time.
can't fight.
It's like in like D&D, we've had instances where it's like we're kicking everybody's butt, and then we all drown because none of us can swim, and we're rolling nothing but 2s on swimming checks. Or a single rat kills half the party.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 2 points. Adjust your characters for the next 2 sessions.
So the official word is that the vibro weapons are a thing.
Let me just check the RPG book, but I'm pretty sure pulse weapons, pulse blades, were a thing.
That my issue with that is if you've got easy access to that kind of armor penetration ability, then armor is going to be really pointless. Which is why guns became a thing, and plate armor stopped becoming a thing.
And then shields became a thing.
That is an interesting point, though. Would vibro weapons actually have any effect on shields? Honestly, I could see it being worse.
That's why I originally presumed that my weapon didn't have anything on it. It was just like super fine.
The 3E Dune book specifically said no vibro, and I know we'd had that discussion afterward and said that may have shown up in later non-canonical books. But if the RPG basically says it's easily available to anybody, then maybe that's what we go with.
Yeah, according to the wiki, they have pulse sword was a weapon used by the Ganaz swordmasters. Some of the force inflicted by pulse swords was because of their vibrations. When activated, shimmering arcs of disruptive energy could be running along the surface, but I don't recognize either of the things that are listed as appearances. So I strongly suspect this is more this Kevin J. Anderson bullshit.
Because it sounds like the
Absolutely.
kind of thing he would do.
Yep. Both of them. It's like Whipping Mech, whatever, is a short story by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. So I consider that non-canonical. Dune: The Machine Crusade is the second book in the Legends of Dune by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. Also non-canonical.
There's doesn't say anything special about them other than on Arrakis, pulse swords, and possibly attract sandworms.
If you turn them on, I guess.
The vibrations.
Yeah, well, for the future, I'm actually not likely to. I'm probably planning on just having the ultra fine on the knife. I'm not planning on it necessarily being pulse, because if Vipro is going to be an issue, then that could be an issue.
We can do some tests like balancing the forms,
Right.
to see how things stack up.
Cool. All right.
There you go. We played Dune.
Nice.
I killed Sarduakar.
And
Met
Phil
a
killed
really
the Sarduakar.
sexy, met a really sexy lady.
That might become Hanson's wife.
That's true. I promise I will not Lancelot you, bro.
That is much appreciated if it ever becomes necessary.
But
I
that's
think-
okay.
I think
Atticus
Lancelot-
wants the ant, remember?
I think Lancelot promised not to Lancelot. Damn it. Hyperdense blades are TL11.
Yeah. All right. Well,
There you
I
go.
guess we'll chat and see it next week then. Fun.
Next week.
We got to hear Ethan talk more than a little bit.
I think I've talked more this session than I have over the past 2 seasons.
I think that's probably right.
You'll probably have to do a lot more talking.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Get used to it.
Never.
With any luck, I'll be back in my house for the next session. Be good.
One can hope.
That would
So
be awesome.
it's totally not going to happen.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it.
Probably not.
Be real, you know it's not going to happen.
So, all right. Damn it, I don't have my script.
Hmm.
If you're watching this, come on, Daniel, you can do it from memory, right?
Why can't anyone else?
Watching this and you have complaints, gripes, questions, etc., etc., find us on Discord.
Olympus out.
Thanks for watching. Olympus out. That's pretty close, I think.